I do want to talk about it because I was there. I want to talk about the differences between what actually happened and what what had to be changed for film. Obviously, I understand there needs to be a story, but either she left after that, or she didn't want to. Maybe she signed some sort of strange contract and didn't want to reveal what really happened at the end. But at the end, eventually, two did go missing, two did escape, not one, two. But she had combined those two into one character, which I'll talk about in a minute. So that's why I only see the one. But two did escape, and one kept escaping and kept getting caught. The other one, which I was there, it was me, was only out for a few days. But by the time that they had brought in these policemen and search dogs, they had actually found two dead bodies on the property. And so by the time that they brought me back, it was finally the day that they got the police involved. Before that, I don't think the police were involved. And so they went out to find me. And I come back and I'm overhearing the conversation that they're having, saying we have an issue here. We found two bodies. One is fairly recent. I remember one was fairly recent. So I don't know if she left before that happened, or if she just fled because she was afraid and fear that they might think that she was a part of it when she wasn't. But that didn't get in the story. It just ended where, those two characters, which she blended together as one, running off into the forest. So I have questions. I have immense questions. Did she sign some kind of contract saying, that she would not talk about the legal aspects of this? Is that why? I mean, really, to be honest, why would they allow her there if they didn't trust her, right? Why would they allow her there if they didn't? So I wonder if, it's something that they told her that, okay, these are the conditions. If you want to make this into film, these are the conditions that you have to go by, basically, so that we know that their asses are covered if you're going to make this a film. It wasn't explained that it was, pretty much word for word, scene by scene. They did change a lot of things and add a few theatrics, but you'd be surprised about the kind of stuff that actually existed. And I did another one before saying, I didn't want to give anything away, and I wanted to not bring my own view into it because I didn't want to scare people. But I thought, no, that's wrong. They need to know the truth. And the truth is that, unfortunately, that this place did exist, and it got in the media at least once. It got in the media at least once, and then eventually became film. Because it got in the media, it attracted attention, and that is why this lady from Ireland came. If you ask my opinion, I don't think she was on it in any way. She was just there. It was she saw it on the news, and she thought to herself, this would make a good film. I don't know why she thought that. I honestly don't. But that's what she thought. And she's travelled all the way to Ohio to do that. She was granted access to the actual facility. Everything that you see, the fake trees, the weird walls with the grass and things on them, that was real. All of that, the bars, the monkey bar looking things, that's real. That was really there. Because they not only had access granted to, but the being granted to actually film in the literal location. So when they were filming, we were not allowed to be anywhere near where they were, and they took us, you know, somewhere else. But there was this one time where I actually had the privilege to be in where they were filming. And I didn't understand the significance of it at the time because I was too young. I couldn't even appreciate, you know, just how much of a neat scenario that was. I had no idea what was really happening. I actually got to be there with the actors and actresses and with the producers, because they had, basically what she did, she walked around initially filming what we did, what we said, and then so she could go frame by frame exactly, replace us with actors and actresses and have them go exactly frame by, and that really helped to tell the story, honestly, because I've never seen anyone work so hard to adequately represent people like us, the way that they assume the character of, you know, an animalistic, the way that we move, just the way that we think, just the emotion in our eyes. I mean, everything that happened, and they wanted to get it exactly accurate, and most of the time they did. And so, you know, he wants to know how I run on all fours and then jump up on the window like that, and he can't understand how to do it, so I'm there to try and show him. And it takes several minutes, but eventually he does it. And when he finally gets it right, then, you know, she says, okay, instead of slamming the window shut, we're going to have you slowly close it. He says, okay. And right there I get really mad, because I thought that they were there. As a child, I don't understand. She told us that she was there just to tell her story, and this is not, if you're going to tell somebody's story, why are you changing what really happened? I slammed it shut because there was cigarette smoke and I was furious and it was bothering me. Part of what most of us go through, people like me, and I can explain away the pagan side of this all day. In fact, there's a bunch of videos on it. Some of it is physical. We either have heightened senses or we have an inability to you know, withstand. We get sensory overload, you know. Too many things, smells, sounds will bother us. And, you know, some of that stuff happens in autism and Asperger's as well. But it's just that the sensory side of it was not portrayed very well. Sometimes you could get a hint, but, you know, anyway, most of it, that was taken out of it, and it was more the psychological part of this, which was a shame. The biggest other thing well, really the biggest thing that was different was the one at the fence. They had taken down that spiral razor wire and put up barbed wire so that the actors wouldn't get hurt. Like I said, it was not just one person, it was me and arrogant fuck-ass bastard. Arrogant fuck-ass bastard actually had a plan. And part of his plan, basically, I don't remember all of it, but he had a plan for escaping. And he wanted to use me as basically bait. You know, and I'm sitting here thinking, your plan's not going to work, I'm going to get caught. You know, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but they were kind of after me, and I knew I was about to go into that prisons. There's a like cage / prison cell, and it's big, so it's like not a little cage, it's big, and you can stand up in it. But once somebody, there's a rumor, and once somebody goes in there, they never come out, and then one day they just disappear. And I'm thinking, I'm about to go in there, and I don't know what happens. Where do they go? And now looking back, when they disappear, is that the dead bodies that they found? Is that where they went? You know, I'll never know. But they did, once they were gone and it was vacant, you never saw them again. That lady that was upset about her son, that really happened. The squirrel, he really did. he really did cut him really bad. I mean, maybe not the entire nail, but 3/4 of it. That happened. They drugged me by the collar. That happened, but they didn't show it. It's been hard to show it as an adult. But, you know, because I was a child, I was tugging with all my might and nothing happens. He stands there and he does this. He lets go and he laughs, you know, after choking me. And, you know, compared to my family and the horrible things my family's done to me, I was shot at in the chest. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing to me. But for whatever reason, it made, you know, the two women there, one of which I believe was a lady from Ireland, threatened to get police involved. So you've got them threatening for police. You've got the lady that's upset about her son threatening for police. You've got previous exposure to the media in some way. I don't know, because that was before I came there. You've got all these people already threatening to get police involved. You've got them being blindfolded to be taken there because they don't want them to know where it is to tell police. I mean, that's the only way they can visit, if they're blindfolded. They didn't tell this part of it. But basically they called it graduation. But if you noticed, no one had improved at all. It was explained to my parents. They were the very last ones to leave. Here they were, my evil parents, thinking that they'd gotten rid of me forever, and now, you know, they're having to give all the children back to their families. And, you know, my parents were, you know, saying, you know, this basically isn't what we signed up for, and they're basically telling them, we have no choice, you know, the police are involved and we're under investigation. I actually remember under investigation, not knowing what it meant at the time, you know, and now everything kind of clicking together and making sense. But basically, you know, they were saying that they were calling it graduation for the parents that actually did care about the children, who were a little, you know, naive and thought that it was a legitimate place still. They were calling it graduation to you know, hopefully make, as long as possible, make it so that they, you know, still thought everything was normal. So, you know, I've got, it's going to be difficult to show because I was so young, and the older you are, the smaller and harder to discern it is. So there's a scar there that starts from where I was cut by the razor wire. Cat girl was saying, she left chunks of flesh on the fence. Yes, I actually did have to many times kick against the fence to free myself from my own skin. And that's you know, the scar from where the skin left my body. If on the rare chance that maybe you were at that facility and you happen to be watching this, I encourage you to do what I have done and to make people aware of the fact that this stuff like this really does happen. And the film didn't at all say that it was based on, I couldn't find anywhere where it said, not even the credits, where it was based on a true story. You know, and it's just, people need to know that this happens, and yes, a lot of it's underground, but you know, if more of us stand up and bring awareness to it, maybe one day there'll be less places like this. You know, I also would like to say that anyone like me that is watching this, you should never be ashamed of who you are. You're not broken. I wouldn't even call it a disorder. You know, it's just a part of your soul. Yes, you have to be human enough that you exist in society, but you should never throw away that part of you. It's just who you are. And to prove to you that I am what I say I am really quickly. Should probably mention, if you're actually there, you remember me talking like this, live a place long enough, you start talking like they do. Thought I should mention that just in case someone remembers me.